Giving up is the birth of regret. The reality of life is that we will all hear more no's than we hear yeses. In the summer of 2009, I was 19 years old, working a summer position at Target between my freshman and sophomore year at undergraduate school. I was working in the women's clothing department, and I noticed a lady staring at me from across the aisle. I figured she probably had a few screws loose, so I attempted to ignore her very intense stares. She eventually manages to make her way a little bit closer and closer to me where I was working until she eventually walks up to me and says hello. I say the famous Target quote, which is, "Hi, may I help you find something?" She then asks me, "Were you born in this country?" And I was immediately offended. And I said, "Yeah, I was born in this country." And then she says, "Do you have any kids?" I said, "No, I don't have any kids." She then asked me if I was married, and then I said, "No, ma'am, I am not married." She says, "How old are you?" I said, 19. "May I help you find something?" She then says, "You are the most beautiful girl I have seen." And I said, "Oh, thank you." I didn't work that much for my makeup, but I did the best I could, but thank you. And then she says, "I think you could be the next Miss USA." And I stare at her in pure disgust and said, "Pageants? You're telling me pageants, like Sandra Bullock, Miss Congeniality. Pageants? You think I should compete in pageants? I'm in the Army, okay? We don't do pageants in the Army." She then asked me to meet her at Starbucks the very next day before my next shift at Target. And she just wanted to do a little bit of explaining when it comes to what pageants is. And apparently I was a pretty open-minded 19-year-old because I actually agreed to meet her the very next day. The next day, she brought this foot-tall stack of pageant books and proceeds to convince me to enter into a state pageant 3 months later. For those who do not know, when it comes to Miss USA, you have to win your state first, okay? So 3 months later, I compete in my first pageant, and I lose. I go back the second year, compete in the state pageant, I lose. Go back the third year, compete in the state pageant, and lose. Go back the fourth year, compete in the same pageant, and lose. I go back the fifth year, y'all, compete in the state pageant and lose. But guess what? I go back the sixth year, guess what happens? I lose. I called her on the phone and said, "You told me I could be the next Miss USA." And she says, "Deshauna, keep working, don't quit, keep going back." And in June of 2015, she passes away from leukemia. 6 months later, in December 2015, I win Miss District of Columbia, USA. And 6 months after that, in June of 2016, I become the first soldier to win Miss USA. Giving up is the birth of regret. Giving up is something I did a lot of growing up, and I don't think I really challenged myself to stick anything through until I joined the track team in middle school. I remember having to ask my mom after tryouts and making it to the team for my very first pair of track shoes. Now, at the time, she walks into our house and she has a bag that has a nice Nike check sign on it, so I get excited because I wasn't getting new shoes very often. I go to take the shoe box out the bag and I notice that it says a size 9 on it. Mind you, in the 7th grade, I was a size 5. I open the box and I slide my feet into the shoe and I look at my mother and I said, "These shoes are too big." She says, "I know I did that on purpose." I was like, "Why would you buy shoes that are too big on purpose, Mom?" And she says, "Because I know that you're going to grow into them."
Did you guys get anything from that? I mean, how many of us would go back 7 times? I don't think I would have. I'd be like, forget this. I know I'm beautiful. I don't need all them, but anyway,
Right.
I just, sometimes when I come in the mornings and I'm feeling, however I'm feeling in the mornings, and I put on something, I look on YouTube and look for something that is actually inspirational. And to me, I just loved that quitting is, what did she say? Let me go back. Giving up is the birthplace of regret. Giving up is the birthplace of regret. How many of you have given up something and you regret it? I'm sorry, I thought I turned my phone off. I thought I turned it off, guys. Give me one moment. I do apologize. It's extremely unprofessional. It's turned off now. How many of you ever given something up and then regretted, or gave up on something and regretted it?
I did.
I still do it, right? But then we just keep, we just learn from every single thing. Some things I've given up and I don't regret it, right? So anyway, all right. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that. I mean, like I said, I share stuff to you guys that really speaks to me. And it seems like every time I watch it, I learn something a little differently, or I think about something a little deeper. And it's just thought provoking because I know things are very difficult right now. I was sharing earlier with students that were on early. We have lots of students down with COVID right now. And you have COVID? Yeah, Kedra has COVID. We have several that are just flat with it, and Miss Kedra, look at how mighty you are sitting in the chair. You're struggling. Okay, well, I'm gonna hurry. We're gonna get to coding so you can go lay back down. But I just don't want you guys to give up. This is going to pass. If I can do anything to help you through this time, please just reach out to me. I know I can't come like cook for you or clean for you, but we can certainly make some allowances with timing and things like that. So let's go ahead and get to coding so Miss Kedra can get back in bed. Now, Kedra, if you get to feeling too bad, log off, and I'm going to be uploading this on today's daily assignment, okay? So I don't want you to struggle, sweetheart, but I'm so glad to see you.
Giving up.
All right. So here we go with coding. So our first coding scenario is the intramuscular administration of 4 vaccines to a 20-year-old patient. Now, what we're looking for here is 2 codes. So our keyword is going to be administration. So in our index, which is in the very back of our CPT manual, we're going to look up administration. On 975 in the index, administration, and then right underneath administration, you're going to see the word immunization, vaccines, immunization, toxoids, all of those words kind of run together. And then when you start reading down, the first thing that we see under immunization is each additional vaccine/toxoid. It gives us 2 codes, but we're looking for our first code. So 1 vaccine/toxoid, it gives us 70471 or 70473. You guys give me verbal confirmation if you see where I am.
I can see it.
Yeah, I see it, but I think you made a mistake and said 70. It's 904, right?
Oh, you're
904,
right.
73.
Did I say so sorry? Whoopsie. Sorry about that. The 1 vaccine toxoid is 90471 or 90473. And remember, this is our initial code. How many vaccines are we doing here?
4.
4. So we have to keep that number in mind. So when we look up 90471, 90471 is on page 698, sorry, in your tabular. 90471 says immunization administration includes percutaneous, intradermal, subcutaneous, or intramuscular injections. So what do we have here? We have an intramuscular, correct?
Right.
So our first code is going to be 90471.
Mhm.
Okay, that's just one, correct?
Yes.
So let's look down. You see 90472 and it has a plus sign in front of it. Let me ask you a question. Can we ever use 90472 as a standalone code?
No, it has to be an
No.
addition.
It has to be added to another code. Those are called add-on codes. So 90472 says each additional vaccine, single or combination, in addition to code for primary procedure. So our primary is going to be 90471. Secondary code is going to be 90472. How are we going to tell the third-party payer that there's 3 90472s?
Times 3, X3.
X3 times 3. Now I'm going to look at you while I tell you this really quickly. So some people may think, well, why don't we put 90471, then 90472, 90472, 90472? The third-party payers stop looking usually after the second or third CPT code. So if you put that times 3 in there, they're only seeing actually 2 codes, right?
Mhm.
So you're more than likely to get that paid when you have that times 3 on there. But if you put too many CPT codes, they're only going to go so far. When you're doing billing, or you get trained in billing at your facility, you're going to see where they're going to put those major codes first. You always want whatever code's going to get you the most money first. And how will you know that? You'll have what's called a fee schedule in front of you. And it just gives you how much everything is. So, and it's not hard. Once you guys get there, you're going to be like, oh, that's a fee schedule. That's what she was talking about. And it just gives you the code with how much you get paid for them. That's all. It's a fee schedule. For this one is 90471 and 90472 times 3, which gives us a total of 4 vaccines.
Right.
All right, so this next one is an electroconclusive therapy. So I'm going to let you guys look that up because we're looking for electroconclusive, convolusive. There you go. Make sure you check your spelling closely. And I'm just going to be completely transparent. Yesterday, when I picked this one to code, I couldn't find it, and it's because I had, for some reason in my mind, had letters scrolled around. And so once I found it, I was like, well, duh. So be careful of your spelling.
I think I found it.
Okay. Melanie, what'd you get?
90870.
Who agrees?
I do.
I do.
I do too. That 90870. Y'all, that for me yesterday, I don't know why I got a little dyslexic, and I would be embarrassed to tell you how long it took me to find this word, and it was right there the whole time. I said I'm gonna have to tell them tomorrow. All right. Bilateral fluorescein angiography with interpretation and report. Okay. So with interpretation and report in our scenario, we already know we don't need a modifier because it's going to include the interpretation and report. So what do you think that we're going to need to look up in our index?
Angiography.
That's where I went. I went to angiography. You can go to fluorescein too, but it gives you a lot of codes to choose from. So, but you could go that way also. And I think it gives you a choice of 3 codes. It gives you, well, it gives you 92235, then it gives you 704544 and 70540. We're working in the nines again. So you know you don't need to look at the sevens. Did that make sense what I just said?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I found it.
Jasmine, you said you found it?
Yeah.
Okay, give them just a minute. Let them get with you, and then I'm gonna let you answer. Okay, Jasmine, what you got?
I have 92235, which is the fluorescein angiography with interpretation and report, which could be unilateral or bilateral.
Right, so it's all included in our our code description, right? So we don't need anything extra. Who agrees with 92235?
I agree.
I agree too. Great job. All right, so a 12-year-old presented for a diagnostic analysis of his cochlear implant, including programming. Okay, do you guys know what a cochlear implant is?
It's like for, is it for hearing?
Yeah, it's for your ears. It's to help. It doesn't necessarily have to be a hearing aid, but it can be attached to the skull. But this is a 12-year-old with a cochlear implant, and we're going to do some programming. So I went to cochlear device. Cochlear, yeah.
Good advice.
cochlear device, diagnostic analysis, and then it gave me a choice of two codes, 92601 or 92603. And the key factor into deciding which code is going to be your what? Your age, right?
Age, right.
So who has an answer?
I have one.
I have one too.
Miss Ali.
Miss
Is it
Keidra, are you
926?
okay? You have it?
92603, because the child is 12.
Are y'all sure?
They say age 7 years or older.
And you're right. Remember, I want you to be confident in your answer. I am sure. Oh, sorry. Well, all right. Our next one is electrocephalogram recording for a patient in a coma. I chose that one just because I thought being in a coma, it's a test while a patient's in a coma, and I just thought that would be interesting. Electroencephalogram is also an EEG. You guys have heard of an EEG, right? We don't use these long words. But I went to encephalogram, and then it's kind of explanatory after that. Miss Keidra, this one's yours.
Yeah, that one was.
95822.
95822. Do we agree, coders?
Yes.
That's it, Miss Keidra. You did a great job.
I feel so bad to hear it.
She said 95822.
2.
So you just simply go to encephalogram, and then it says coma only, 95822. Now remember, we can't always just rely on one way to code. We need to make sure we're double checking in our tabular. Okay, a 3-hour and 15-minute infusion of chemotherapeutic agent, and there's 2 codes. And there's 2 codes because of your time. So what do you think we need to go to?
Chemotherapy? No, I don't know. Yeah.
It's chemotherapy.
Therapy, okay.
Chemotherapy.
Yeah, go to chemotherapy.
Fusion. And then you got 3 different ones.
Yep. Chemotherapy.
Is going to be an intravenous infusion, even though it didn't say that. I don't want you guys to get nervous about these that have 2 codes, because when you have 2 codes on these, it's just adding your time up, okay? It's important that you get that base code, that main code. Does anybody have your chemotherapy administration code yet?
Yeah.
What do you have? What do you have? Sorry.
So it would be 96413 and then 96415.
Right. And do we need to add something to the 15?
Oh yeah. Times 2, right?
Times 2. So 96413, 96415 times 2. So all that you really did there is you added your time, right?
Mhm.
So I don't want y'all to get nervous when you see that you need 2 codes, because so many of them are just time-based.
And I have a story for this code as well.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I told you, I think you and Kelly, that I was really sick with my last pregnancy, and I would have to, every week I would have to go to a chemotherapy infusion center and get this exact thing, which was, it's not for chemotherapy. It was for like I guess it would be under the highly complex drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to sit there for 3 hours and 30 minutes twice a week, but every week.
So you were probably getting these codes, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is a neat story, although I feel terrible that you had to go through that. But okay, so let's move on to our next code. A home visit for stoma care and maintenance of a patient's colostomy. So what did we do? We did a home service.
Mhm.
So that's where I started in the index, was home service. I found home services on 1070. And then it was for stoma care.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, Miss Kedra, what'd you get?
Um, 99505.
That's exactly right.
Mhm.
And when you read your code description, it includes maintenance of the colostomy. So that's why you don't need 2 codes, because this one code includes all of it. Look at how fast you guys are getting. Go ahead, Melanie.
I went to the C word, colostomy.
Colostomy.
Colostomy, sorry. And then I went to home visit under it, and then it brought me to the same thing.
Great. Thank you for sharing that with us, because we always want to be aware that there may be more than one way to skin a cat, as they say.
Mhm.
Okay, so end-stage renal disease, ESRD, related services per day for one encounter, less than a month, for a patient who is 17 years old. So that seems huge. You're like, oh my goodness. We're just going to go to end-stage renal disease. Y'all, by the time we get through with our ICD-10 coding, when we wrap back around to it, you are going to know end-stage renal disease by the back of your hand.
Mhm.
You'll remember those codes because I use it a lot.
Stage per day service per day. Less than a month.
average renal disease is on 1,033. And you're going to see dialysis underneath there, and it gives you lots of choices for dialysis, but that's not what we're looking for. And then right underneath, it says less than a full month.
Mhm.
And it gives us codes 90967 through 90970.
Yeah, I have it.
Per day. So, okay.
Okay, Jasmine, what do you have?
90969.
90969?
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, one of the things I want to tell you, you guys, I pull these from our test generator, and this is just an example where our test generator hasn't caught up to the CPT book that's updated. When you guys let me know, hey, Miss Marcia, this code should be, and it's not updated on the quiz, I go back to everybody's quiz and I fix that. I'm trying to catch them as I go, but I don't always catch them. So, but yes, 90969. And that's because the patient is 12 to 19 years of age. Okay, so the next one is the administration code for an influenza vaccine. All that we're coding here is, oh no, I did have 90969. I was looking at the wrong ones, y'all. Sorry. I was trying to go to the next one. Okay, so the administration code for an influenza vaccine. All that we're coding is administration. Melanie, have you already done this one?
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
But I kind of just jumped because I know it's in the beginning of that section.
Well, I was going to tell you guys too that I have, I have to turn my camera back on. I'll show y'all when we come back around. Miss Elise, do you have it?
90471.
Who agrees? I agree too. All right, so we're going to do our very last coding scenario. It's a hearing aid check for 1 ear.
Hearing. Hearing aid check. 1, 2.
So when you go to the index, it gives you hearing aid check, and it only gives you 2 codes, right?
Yeah.
So we have to choose between those codes. It's either 92592 or 92593. Jasmine, what you got?
92592.
92592. Do we agree?
Yes. I remember we did that prefix MONA.
Mono?
Yeah. Mono meaning one.
Yep.
If we wouldn't have done that, I would have been confused.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, maybe some people might have a problem because they don't know which one would be one or two or more.
So 92592 is the correct answer. So I find it easier when we do it together.
Yeah.
Being able to talk to each other about it, because coding is a lot of collaboration.
Yeah, because when I do my work, I get so